The Ranma Half series has been loved by many generations around the world. This is why when a new anime adaptation was announced, a lot of people were nervous about it not being as good as the original anime. Hello, I'm Rosie, and today we're gonna talk about Ranma Half, a little bit about the manga, the new adaptation, and about remakes and reboots, which tend to have a bad reputation before even starting out. First of all, a disclaimer. If you're one of those people who felt offended or angry that you're not able to see nipples in a cartoon about 16-year-olds, this is my gently invitation to get out of my channel. I don't want you here. First of all, watch Ranma Half. Ranma Half is a manga and anime series written by Rumiko Takahashi and published by Shonen Jump. It follows Ranma, a 16-year-old martial artist who fell into a curse word training, and now he doesn't only have to deal with being a normal teenager because he is not one anymore. Now, every time he touches cold water, he is doomed to transform into a girl, but he is not the only one. The other character that presented with him is his dad, Genma, who's actually cursed as well, and he is cursed to turn into a panda every single time he touches cold water. This curse is explained by Genma himself, to the audience, and to the Tendo family. The Tendo family is a family that owns a dojo, and that is more important than that, since Genma promised that Ranma will marry one of the 3 daughters of the family Tendo, so he could keep the dojo and keep it going. The girl chosen for this arranged marriage was Akane Tendo, the youngest and a pretty good martial artist herself. She's a bit tomboyish and claims to hate men. From there on, we see this arranged marriage during their adventures together with the curse and some other characters that will make their life a little bit harder every time. But it's pretty fun and a simple but actually pretty funny and characteristic Rumiko Takahashi humor that makes this kung fu parody something that you will not want to miss. This manga series received its first adaptation during 1989, but sadly we weren't able to see all of the manga content adapt since it got cancelled beforehand. This left this fandom unattended by a long time, because even with OVAs and some other chapters, people wanted to actually see the continuation of the series, and for the longest time they thought it would be impossible until January of this year. During January of 2024, Rumiko Takahashi announced via Twitter that a new adaptation of the Ranma Half manga was being released, this time produced by Netflix and animated by MAPPA. With this information, some people got a little bit nervous about the quality and how good of an adaptation it could be coming from Netflix. Netflix is known by the otaku community for being not that good to adapt animes. The biggest and something that I'm actually still pissed about was Death Note. It was awful, and for a fandom that has been waiting for this for such a long time, they just didn't want to have another failure from Netflix. Soon enough, we were able to see a trailer where we actually saw the new art style, the new animation style, and this is where the polemic begins. Before the anime even was released, a lot of people were mad about the art style. If you take a look to the classic Ranma and the current one, you can see why so many people thought it just wasn't the same. The colors are a lot more vibrant this time, they have diverse lines, and the eyes were such a problem because people thought they couldn't reflect Rumiko Takahashi's special art style with this style. People were calling it a basic style and even basic MAPPA style. People were saying that MAPPA's adaptation looked like it had no soul, that the art style was nothing special, and that it could be confused with many other current animes. Another thing that people were saying it was that Ranma Half is too cancelable for today's media. The classic Ranma Half tended to present some nudity, but not only that, but Ranma Ranma himself acted like being a girl was something pretty bad. He actually acted like being a girl was the worst thing that could happen. Also, there's a lot of pervy characters in Ranma Half, people that do not respect women and actually are pretty intense about their sexuality. This is why people thought that this was just not suitable for today's medium. Another thing that people were mad about is that some characters will disappear completely. It was announced that this adaptation was meant to be pretty close to the manga. This is why a lot of different characters are not gonna be seen because they were added only for the anime. Some people thought it was a good idea, but a lot of other people thought that some characters were extremely loved and so charismatic that they needed to come back, but it's most likely that they will never see screen again. Finally, the anime was released, and people were saying this was not a good remake. So much scenes were cut out, so much things were changed, and so much people thought it just wasn't keeping the same as the classical manga did. And that's where the problem begins. The 2024 Ranma adaptation is not a remake of the classical. The classic Ranma series, beloved or not, it's done. And now it's the time to get a new adaptation from the manga. This is not trying to be a new way of being that Ranma, the classic Ranma. This is a new Ranma closer to the adaptation. This is not a reboot, this is not a remake. This is a new adaptation, just as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was to Full Metal Alchemist. Just as Disney's Hades was not a reboot or a remake of the classical Hades. And that's what will probably happen to other mediums that are rumored to be redone. When you think about Ranma half being a classical fan, you expect it to come back. But this is not a continuation about the old manga. This is why so many things have been cut out, because they were not in the manga, not in the original manga at least. There were so many things that were added that were actually not in the manga that actually changed a lot how the new anime is enjoyed. In the end, it will not create any difference on how the plot goes, because again, this was only fillers. The classic manga is full of filler scenes that mean nothing to the plot. But again, this is not the classical manga, and the plot can go so much different because of that. Characters being removed or being introduced in the pace that they are supposed to be, such as shampoo, is a great difference for this anime. This anime, it's meant to be its very own adaptation, and as a lot of fans are expecting, it's meant to be carbon copy of the manga. If you see these clips and the panels side by side, you can see the detail they were put it on. The camera shots and everything were meant to be exactly as the manga. There are so little new scenes. I can just remember some little ones, and one of them was like 3 seconds long. And it meant nothing. It was just to be funny. Because again, Ranma half, it's about comedy. It's added to be funny, but it's not gonna turn the plot in any different way. Today's reboots and remake have the worst reputation ever, and they deserve it. Reboots and remakes of people's childhoods had been completely ruined before. My very own fandoms have suffered for this. G3 of Monster High is not something that I love. I don't like them at all. I think it's the worst thing that could happen to Monster High, and I hate them for it. And there are so much examples of this kind of stuff. A lot of remake and reboots had totally messed up the energy, had completely outrun the original content. But this is not the case of Ranma half 2024. The Ranma half 2024 adaptation is meant to be as similar as possible to its original medium. But the thing is, the original medium is not the classical anime. It is a manga. And it's doing a fantastic job adapting its source material. Not the one that fandom wants, but its actual source material. Since my channel is actually focused around art, I cannot let go the opportunity to talk about this art style. MAPPA did a fantastic job with this art style. And this manga and this adaptation is filled with so much to learn. Ranka's hair, it's closer to the original source, making it magenta this time. And this is a color pretty tough to work with when your main character wears red. But the most important thing for me that we need to talk about when we're talking about the Ranma new adaptation is its shadow work. Since the trailer, we were able to see this purple shadow. The color theory in this anime is crazy. I love it. It looks so good and so different, and I am the greatest nerd of color. If you see my last video, you'll see how much I love to add vibrant colors to everything. And action scenes being portrayed with those colors in such a crazy shadow work that actually looks so good. And they not only play it with purple, we're able to see it in blue and I think green in some other scenes. This looks amazing. And if you want to learn some color theory, I invite you to take a look and study this adaptation. This adaptation is actually taking risks when it comes. This adaptation is actually taking risk in these kind of things, and it looks fantastic. I know a lot of people tend to like more about how Rumiko Takahashi portrays women, and I think it is fantastic. I invite you to study Rumiko Takahashi's work in Ranma and in all of her series because this lady is amazing and she keeps going. She's fantastic. But if you want to know a little bit about color theory and dynamic poses, this is your anime. As I said, this is Kung Fu mixed with so many other disciplines. Right now, it just ended an ice skating arc. So if you want to see that and if you want to learn how to do some dynamic poses, dynamic moments, and some action scenes, this is your anime. I actually and completely recommend this anime for you to learn a lot about art. And that was everything for me. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the fan arts that were with me all of this time, I invite you to go over to my Cara where I publish all of my art. If you want to see more of my arts live, you can go follow me on my Instagram. And if you just want to see me be me, I have a TikTok. Goodbye and thank you.